Greetings, Game Pass or Pass subscribers. Corey here. So the beginning of this episode is a little cut off, and I just want to give you a heads up. And there's unfortunately we lost the very, very start of the audio. But the reason is that we're not going to talk about all the changes that happened back in October. We had just taken some time off just because of life stuff. But we're back. We're playing games and all that stuff. But we actually just recorded an episode on Ball Cross Pit, and then we decided that we were talking enough about the changes that we just needed to get it all out. So we were going to do it at the end of the year, but we're doing it now essentially. So that's why the beginning's a little cut off. And also we might talk about other episodes. But we didn't include Ball Cross Pit because we technically recorded this after. So Ball Cross Pit will be coming very soon, but this is sort of our state of the Game Pass as well as just the mess that Microsoft finds himself in. So hope you enjoy. Apologies about the issues at the very start. So let us know what you think. 574-651-9256. Game Pass service and tell you which games to pass on to a friend or pass on by. But we're not going to do that this episode. We're going to talk about...
Whoa, we're not?
No.
What are we doing?
I was thinking maybe we just get some food. I'm kind of hungry.
Listen, I'm down for that actually.
Maybe we need to start eating on this podcast.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
The mukbang, we could mukbang some audio.
Yeah, I think we'd have to be video at that point so we could show off what we're eating, but maybe we should do that. But I won't be able to because I'm going to be too poor after Microsoft makes these changes to Xbox Game Pass. So we've been...
Look at that segue.
We've been gone for a little while, and of course, as soon as we left, Microsoft decided that they don't like customers. They decided that we are all going to be poor and we all don't deserve Game Pass. And so they made a bunch of changes. And as usual, they're not good. But in the timeline that we're in,
as usual, they're not good. And that's such a depressing way to put that. I don't mean to throw you off immediately, but it's just notable that their updates was just never a happy update for them. It was always a negatively looked at update. And
it's obviously everybody gave their opinion when it happened and it all sucks. So actually I think it's kind of unique that we do have a perspective now that the ROG Ally is out and now that the dust has settled, how do we still feel? So we did have I won't say email. Why can I not think? A text message that says for $360 a year now for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, is it finally time to say it's no longer a good deal? And I think when it comes to this show, I think that's a very important question because we always were it's if you have an Xbox and you don't have Game Pass, what are you doing? It was so cheap.
You're stupid.
Yeah. And I have said it for, I think, God, probably 3 years now. Xbox has been dead for a long time. Game Pass has been their play. And I think this is finally all of that coming to fruition and culminating into it. However, it just feels very, brash because they just did this not that long ago. They did that this year. They changed the tiers and the prices and all that. And they decided that wasn't good enough and they're going to do it again. And not only are they going to do it again, they're going to do it and they're going to tell you why it's more expensive and why you should thank them for it being more expensive. And that was kind of where everything went awry. So I'll go over this stuff quickly. Chances are you probably already know it, but the biggest thing is that Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is now going up to $29.99 a month. It includes now Ubisoft Plus Classics and will also include, I think actually as of now, right? Fortnite Crew, which is I don't play Fortnite.
Thank God.
Yeah.
That's what I was paying for. That's the update I was paying for. Now I can really get into my Fortnite.
Which I believe is their battle pass, right?
The battle pass,
right?
Yeah.
So, and that comes out on the 18th, so it's actually a couple days from now. So, and that by itself is $12, ladies and gentlemen. So when you add Ubisoft Classics into there, it's also online multiplayer because that's what you need. And you still get the stuff from Riot Games, from League of Legends and all that. But the things they're adding are Ubisoft Classics as well as the Fortnite Crew. And now it's $29.99 a month. So now then in the middle, we have Premium, which is Xbox published games within a year of the launch, which was a huge problem I had before when they did this first change because they said games will come to the other tiers sometime but they didn't say when. But now they've officially said within a year of the launch, they are now doing unlimited cloud streaming for all tiers, not just Ultimate and online console multiplayer, because of course. And the biggest thing is that Call of Duty is not included in the premium. You will never get on the premium tier. You will have to be an Ultimate to play Call of Duty on Game Pass. And then you have Essential, which is $9.99 a month for now, again, unlimited cloud gaming. You still get the in-game benefits for the Riot games only, which is oddly specific. Online console multiplayer. And then another big change that they made is that you used to get pretty much 10% instantly on anything in Game Pass if you wanted to purchase it, but they have taken that away. And now if you're a Game Pass Ultimate,
take that away?
It actually makes sense. And it's actually better for the consumer in some ways, but they're awful at explaining it, because now it's 10% back on anything from the store. So as a Game Pass subscriber, when I bought Battlefield 6, I got 10% off plus 10% back. And that game's not on Game Pass.
Off anything in the store.
Anything in the Microsoft
so why
store.
Not lead with that?
Right. Because that's Microsoft. They don't know how to. So Jesus Christ, it's a nightmare. So those are the overarching changes. And so really what it is, it's now $30 a month. There's now 3 different tiers. And also there is a 4th tier, but they will not tell you about it. And it's a pain in the butt to get to. For $17.99 a month, you can get PC Game Pass only, and that does include day one games, including Call of Duty, but they will not tell you about that. You have to hunt to find that, and it's only available on PC for obvious reasons. So there's still 4 tiers, but these are sort of the main tiers. And so they made all those changes, and they did it in a way, again, like I'm not kidding when they're just like, hey, we're making these changes, and there was no... we hired some random actor to make this video because we know this is a horrible idea and no one's going to like it. But hey, money, right? Like we've got to figure this out. And so they rolled it out and it's officially live, et cetera, et cetera. So as usual, the internet was not happy. A $10 increase, which, is from 20 to 30 is a pretty big jump. And as usual, console players get the short end of the stick because like, oh, you still want to play online? Well, guess what? You're going to have to buy Game Pass Core for $9.99 a month anyway. And it's just a mess. It's such a mess.
It's so stupid. Like,
so, however, real quick, I want to throw in here. After this, and more has come out, the ROG Ally has come out, and basically all of Microsoft's next gen plans have come out in that they are they are officially moving off of the Xbox platform in terms of it. When I say platform, I mean literally the platform no longer is going to exist from a development standpoint, and that if you're developing for Xbox, you're developing for PC, and that's what they're doing. And I know I'm not saying that to be like, oh my God, Xbox is dead. It's like, no, like the Xbox SDK, like the software developer environment is going away in many ways. You are now going to be programming for PC going forward. Now, that doesn't mean that people won't be making stuff for Series X and S, but they're planting their flag and they're officially doing the thing that we've said they need to do forever, and that PC. Yeah,
we said this 15 years ago.
Right. PC, like, why are you building different things for this? Why are you doing for that? Like, the technology's here, and they are officially, non-officially doing that with all the rumors that are coming out. So it's like, it kind of makes sense, but the main reason I want to talk about that is because of the online console multiplayer thing, which will come back. So all this together, that was a lot. How are we feeling? Go.
Short answer, I canceled my Game Pass. I mean, and that's because I was on the Ultimate tier, and at that point it made sense. As we said, like, we start this podcast being as honest as possible. It's like, as long as it makes sense, we will pay for the Game Pass, and because we'll get certain things back, certain bonuses, and again, it'll just make sense. The issue now is that top tier does not make sense for me. Just being completely honest, and then just looking at the value, like how many games do I play? Even doing this podcast, I'm like, how many games do I really play on Xbox Game Pass that I wouldn't have played otherwise? And what kind of service is it providing for a $30 or more monthly fee? So I had to really go back and look at things and come to the determination that it just wasn't for me, not that tier anymore. So now I'm looking at the PC only pass. However, even then, I'm like, am I getting it just for Call of Duty at this point? Because the games I'm playing, I can purchase on Steam as indie games. You know, like the most of the games I'm playing are, excuse me, most of the games I'm playing are like the finals, and I purchased Arc Raiders or Ball Pit, which was like, how much was Ball Pit? Like $10 or something.
15,
on Steam,
yeah.
like it's 15. So it's like, I'd rather play the $15 one time and play Ball Pit forever than, or quote unquote forever, you don't own anything, than month to month, and they might take Ball Pit off next month,
right,
or something. Like, it's even the PC part of it now isn't a layup for me, and it's honestly depressing, because they could have easily taken over the market, and they really expected to do that, but along the way they realized the numbers started to stagnate. Other places weren't adopting, other ecosystems wasn't adopting the Xbox Anywhere tagline as much as they wanted to. So like, they had to make some pretty hard business decisions. Like, if we want the most money out of this the fastest way, then we're going to have to make these changes. Like, you know, like, I really think they expected, after buying
Call of Duty was the play, right? Like, that was the play.
Not just Call of Duty either. The big Bethesda buyout too.
Right.
They thought those two things, gangbusters, done. We take over the market. Once they realized that wasn't the case, they panicked.
They're not. I don't want to say they're not dumb, because they can be. I will say, like, when everything that came out, like after they bought Activision, like after they bought Activision, like I think it was something like, hey, if they hit their Game Pass goals or something like that, which I think, God, I don't remember what the numbers were, but it was something crazy. It was something like 50 million or 60 million Game Pass subscribers. This was after the Activision, like that was the exec's incentive. They'd get a bonus essentially. So like that was sort of like the story that came out was hey, they expect Call of Duty to, you know, push up subscriptions quite a bit, and that was also the talk originally too. Like when the Activision buyout happened, it's like, is Call of Duty coming on Game Pass? And like they wouldn't say it for the longest time, because I don't think they knew either. They eventually did, and Black Ops 6 was the first one, and they're like, oh yeah, like, and then they tried to pretend like, of course it's coming to Game Pass. That's what we said, right? Like all Microsoft titles. But then oddly enough, when they do this rebrand or whatever, or redesign or whatever you want to call it, it's like, well, you only get Call of Duty and Ultimate. So like that tells me exactly what you just, you know, what everybody was kind of like, I don't know if this is going to boost it the way that you think it is, because for various reasons, like if you're playing Call of Duty that much, you're probably only playing Call of Duty. Like, why would you get Game Pass to only play Call of Duty when you're not playing everything else? And this is where like the Game Pass promise or the whatever you want to call it starts to get really muddy. And I'm going to say this as somebody who, I actually think that this new setup, the way they have it, is exponentially better than where they have been. But the fact that it's coming off of the heels of, you already did this year with a price increase, and you also called them something else, and you also changed the rules back then, like, you clearly are trying to find your footing, and the left hand doesn't know what the right is doing, and it's very, very messy. Now, the way they have it set up now actually makes a lot of sense. Like, because you have to make money, like you have to make money on this. $30 a month is still actually a really good deal when you look at everything that's coming right now. And Power Wash Simulator 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, Keeper, Pacific Drive, Call of Duty, Outer Worlds 2, like that's $250 in games right there. Like,
you're not wrong. The problem with that is the issue with that is how many people, I think they overestimated how many, just the market of pure gamers where gaming is their one and only vice, you know? because $30, because what you said is not incorrect, but for me personally, I'm like,
it's time.
$30 a month.
It's time. Like
I can get some other values elsewhere in life.
Right.
Like, I'm the guy that canceled Netflix because it's like, oh, you want that much? And I only watch these things. Yeah, I'm good. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's $30 on top of everything else in life. And that's something Microsoft it's not Microsoft specific either.
Right.
It's these companies in general who are like, upping the price on all your things monthly. He's just saying like, oh, it's just a $10 increase. What are you talking about? But it's $10 10 times in my budget.
Well, and not only that, for me, it's the day one games is the thing, right? Like that's the thing. That is how you market. It's just like, hey, you're getting all this value, you're doing all that, and now that's only available on your highest tier. That makes sense. That's a way to do it. However, you took things away from people. Okay. Not only did you take them away, you tried to then replace them with things that maybe somebody doesn't want. And for me, this is where like the Xbox promise or the Microsoft promise, and this is typically how Microsoft does things, this all falls apart for me. I am somebody who is, as Basher will constantly call me, an Xbox fanboy. Sure. I am, when it comes to platforms.
I'm the Sony pony. Yeah.
No, for me, it's like I'm Microsoft can do wrong, but I cannot disprove that. Like when people say fanboy, it's like, I'm like, yeah, sure. But like, it's really not even the games. To me, I am in Xbox, and really what it is, it's achievements, and I like their hardware and I like their layout. Like, I really don't care where I play my games. It's that I like things like achievements and trophies and things like that. And achievements is where I live. So that's a huge thing for me. It's silly. I'm one of not many that still do that. So I look at Ubisoft Plus Classics, and it's like, that's a great value. Guess what doesn't happen with any of the Ubisoft Classics games? It's integrated to the Xbox Store, but you have to install the Ubisoft client, and you cannot get a single achievement on Ubisoft Plus. You cannot get cross save. You can't get any of the things that Microsoft touts as why you should go to Xbox. Achievements, Xbox Play Anywhere, Game Pass. I don't play Fortnite either. So it's like you increase the cost, and you're like, but aren't you getting all these great things? And it's like, yeah, but you didn't even implement them right. Like,
they're not implemented. They're not incorporated at all. They're just additions.
Right.
Like the things that already exist and just add it into. They're doing it wrong.
Right. Like it's you that's great. Like, oh, that's fantastic. You can now play Assassin's Creed 88, whatever. And it's like, okay, but you don't even support the basics of your own platform. And so where it gets even more messy is what I just said is true only for PC. On console, Ubisoft Plus Classics, you get all your achievements because they're required on Xbox.
Oh, that's right.
You cannot launch a game on Xbox unless it's an early preview or early access without achievements. You have to publish it that way. So, but I also can't do the thing where like, okay, there's no cross save because the platform has all these great things that they don't force developers to use on PC because they can't. Because it's not a closed platform. You can't do the thing that you tried to do with Games for Windows Live and force people to pay. Like, they're not going to do it. Like, you are not the player. You're not Steam, you know? And that's the thing with Steam. You have to do these things. You have to support these things, but Microsoft isn't making them. So, like, now you've got this very weird splintered thing. And for most people, they're going to be like, how much is it? $30 or $15? Like, $30 gets me this. And no one's been like, well, Ubisoft Plus Classics can't get achievements, so screw Game Pass. Like, your hardcore people like me are looking at these things and being like, this is stupid. Like, you're not even committed to it the way that you say you are. You keep changing the price. You keep changing your rules. So it's like, what do you want me to, like, I can't even go through this and make it make sense. So how is the consumer supposed to? How is Microsoft supposed to? And so
and that's the thing too, making it make sense, because when this podcast first started, it was very simple for me to recommend Game Pass. I can say, here's because my friend Kitty, she bought an Xbox. I'm like, hey, now you get your Xbox, get Game Pass, get this tier, you're all set.
Yep. And
talk to me tomorrow.
And these new
like,
tiers
whatever.
actually are great for that. Because if you don't care about day one games, the middle tier for $15 a month, really good. That's a really good value. Like, because there's some bangers on Game Pass still, and you'll get the stuff. You're going to get Halls of Torment. You're going to get Outer Worlds while you're playing the other stuff. Like, you're always going to have a catalog that's adding new things. It actually makes sense because when you had tiers that all included day one games, it's very hard to differentiate them because the benefits are different. But now it really makes sense of like, hey, if you don't care about day one stuff, you're still going to get that stuff, but you're going to get it within a year. You still have plenty to play. So when Power Wash Simulator 2 hits premium, you're probably ready for it. Like, and you're saving a ton of money.
They also do this thing between the tiers where they say you can play 150 plus games. You can play 250 plus games. You can play 350 plus games. What games are those?
Right. That's the other part. Yeah.
What games are excluded from each one?
It's very hard to mitigate that.
Like
that.
Because we're sitting here talking about these big titles, but like, what about the smaller titles?
Right.
Like, if my friend wants to play Hi-Fi Rush, how do I know if that's on the tier she has or not? Because not every game's going to Call of Duty. Or
I can tell you how.
Whatever.
However, I also don't even know if this works totally. So they added on with this with the ROG Ally X, they added the Xbox app. Like, what game did you just? Hi-Fi Rush. I just typed in Crossfire Rush, and I don't know why.
Okay, I don't know.
Apparently, I had cross on my brain yeah. So when you go there now, it actually will tell you included in these subscriptions: PC Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass Premium, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And then it's got a little tab right here that says current plan for me is Ultimate. However, does that mean, so you're not subscribed right now, right?
No.
If you open up the Xbox
I'm sorry. I have the very lowest tier.
On PC or what? Essential?
On Xbox.
Oh, so you're Essential $9.99?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wonder, so can you go on your PC and if you go to the Xbox store and you go to Hi-Fi Rush, does it even show it as like part of your library? Because since I'm on Ultimate, it just shows me everything. So I don't know what that looks like. So if somebody that doesn't have Ultimate and they go to, Call of Duty or Outer Worlds 2, what do they see? I'm very curious. I want to know. So like even on their own website, like right now it says join Xbox Game Pass for $9.99. I'm not signed in or anything. I am on the app, so I can't see what that says. Discover your next favorite game, and it shows Black Ops 6, a Fallout logo, and nobody would ever know this, but this is the Outer Worlds 2 thing of the moon, the Butler moon. And it says recently added, and it shows Black Ops 7, Pigeon Simulator, Great Grove Gods, Egging On. So like all of this is day one stuff. So that's not included in the $9.99. So as you asked, it's like, I don't even know what's in the middle tier. I don't know what's in which tier. And there's really not a great way to find out. Like there's just not. And that's where it gets tricky when you start doing this day one stuff and not day one stuff. It actually makes sense the way that you're doing it, but you didn't even set up a way for that to be easily accessible. There's no way, at least easily that I can see, of like, if I join the $9.99 Game Pass, which Core doesn't make any sense on PC.
So I don't mean to cut you off here. So now we're back here. When I log in on my PC, it says Essential right under my gamer tag here. So what do you want me to look up exactly?
So if you look up
Hi-Fi Rush,
yeah, let's look up Hi-Fi Rush. Let's start there. So like when I look it up, it just says install, obviously. But if you scroll down, it says it's included in these subscriptions. And I'm curious if you even see that tab.
I'm sorry. How do you spell Hi-Fi Rush? Because it's not popping up.
If you just type in HI hyphen, I think it'll come up. I think it's the hyphen that's probably H.
I can't find Hi-Fi Rush.
So maybe you can't see it because it's not included. So what if you do Outer Worlds 2?
But hold on. This is actually annoying me. So like, it's high hyphen FI, right?
Like audio hi-fi.
Okay, there it is. Okay, all right, cool. That was gonna bother me. All right, here we go. I found it. So if I want to get this, when I go to the store, it says included with Game Pass, one of two editions.
So does it let you install it? It shouldn't, because that's not on Essential.
It does not.
Okay. So if you on the
it says included with Game Pass,
which you have Game Pass
included in Premium.
Like that's so stupid. So on the store page, can you scroll down and does it say included in these subscriptions?
Yep, it says 1 of 2. Then it goes down to compare editions. This edition is $29.99. The other edition is Hi-Fi Rush. Wait. Oh no, this is a game. My fault. Hold on. Let me scroll down here. Included in these subscriptions, PC Game Pass, Premium, and Ultimate. And it says I have Essential. So like, if I go to PC Game Pass.
So interesting. So actually, if you click on those are all clickable. It seems if you click on Premium, it then gives you. It doesn't give you a full list, but it does say here the most popular games in Premium. And it shows you and it shows 5, 10, 15 games here. That's it. So what about the other 185 plus games that you supposedly
This is my issue.
You guys haven't figured it out yet. You have not figured it out yet.
This is my issue because now you're playing games with me, you know, because now I don't know. If I wanted to downgrade, which I did, but if I wanted to downgrade to a different tier, if I wanted to play, I don't know, Gang Beasts, Among Us, and then Fallout 4, I'd have to go to each one and see which tier they're on to figure out which tier that I want. Unless they're banking me to be like, you know what, screw it, I just get the highest tier,
right?
Which is probably what they want me to do,
right? But at $29.99, like
I'm not doing
when you
that.
have a $10, $15, and $30, nobody's just gonna like it's like the Netflix thing, like you said. It's like once Netflix hit like $24 for like the highest tier, I went and looked. I was like, okay, wait, what is this getting me? Like, and then so their lowest tier is $8, and it's like, okay, you're gonna really have to do some work to convince me to go from 8 to 24. You know, like what are we doing here? Like, so again, they're making it so that way it's not just like just get Ultimate. Like that's what you want. Just get Ultimate. Now you really have to play a game with it. And then on this page here, it's like, oh, by the way, there's another plan here at the bottom. PC Game Pass there's a nice comparison chart here between Essential, Premium, and Ultimate. Xbox Game Pass library says 50, Premium says 200.
But PC Game Pass is just a little blurb.
Yep, and then new games on day one. It's only checked on Ultimate. However, that's also part of PC Game Pass. Why is PC Game Pass not in this chart? I'm on a PC. If I was on my console and you're not showing me PC Game Pass, I'd understand. But no, you don't want people to get on PC Game Pass because I thought it was $17.99. It's $16.49 a month, and you get pretty much almost everything in Ultimate minus Ubisoft Plus Classics. And some stuff is not available on PC, is only available on console. So for almost half the price, you get almost everything.
So my question is with the ROG Ally. I've only played with it for a hot second. With the ROG Ally and all these Steam in all their attempts at a handheld that has. Which is essentially just you can get Steam on.
It's
there,
a PC.
And it's essentially
it's a PC.
It's a Windows base with the layered Xbox
full screen experience they call it.
Yeah, exactly. On top of
Windows,
it's basically big picture mode of the two other things. So like with the ROG Ally, can I just get PC Game Pass?
Yeah. And in fact, that's what you should do.
Which is why they're hiding it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's wild. And then while these tiers make sense.
I feel bad for console players.
Exactly.
Man.
And so now it's like, now you look at Microsoft and you look at their next gen plans, and they're basically, again, they're not ditching the console, but they're ditching the Xbox. Like they're ditching the console idea of you're going to buy a box. You're going to have developers develop for this box. Like they're not doing that anymore, which makes sense actually. But then,
which is fine.
Like you just said, it's like, okay, so you have Game Pass Essential on console and Game Pass Premium and Ultimate. You need one of them to play online, but you don't need that on PC. because they know they can't do that. They tried it once, A, but B, we're also in the world of like, why would anybody pay to play online when you've got the Epic Store that's going to sell the same exact games and the Steam Store that's also going to sell the exact same games? Nobody's going to give you money to play online. So again, you're doing the thing of like, yeah, but you still got to pay to play online. And it's, why? And supposedly, like, this exact topic has come up and there's some people that are talking about it. And Microsoft basically is saying like, they fully anticipate whenever they launch whatever their new thing is, that it's a PC. So they do not expect people to pay to play online. And they are right now, they're basically just saying like, this revenue stream is going to go away, but we're going to milk it for everything we can right now. And it's like, I guess, but they also could change that at any point, and they could just change their mind.
I guess, but
then it creates this scenario of, okay, so I'm going to walk into a store. I can get the Xbox from Microsoft, and there's a possibility, even though it's a PC, that I need to pay to play online. Or if I go to Asus and I get their thing that's also called Xbox, ROG Ally X, whatever, I would not have to pay to play online because that's just a PC as well. And Microsoft didn't make. So it's like you're creating these scenarios that are just insane, and you're not talking about it. You're not saying anything. So even though you've now made it make more sense from a 1,000-foot view, because you've fragmented your platform so hard over the past 4 to 5 years, I can't even explain it to somebody.
Dude,
I'm not done.
As we're talking about it, right. I'm getting more lost.
So
keep going.
Now let's talk about their other initiative, which I think is fantastic, which is Play Anywhere. Xbox Play Anywhere. That's another thing that like they are very much touting as like a reason to get into their ecosystem. And I think it's a smart one, actually, because, hey, Outer Worlds 2 is coming out. If I buy that on my Xbox, I can also play it on my PC. And going forward, in the future, those are going to be the same thing. It doesn't matter whether it's PC or console anymore because they're going to be all one platform. It's Xbox. Like that makes sense that you're planting that flag now. However, what about legacy titles? And this is where it gets really, really stupid too. Let's talk about Resident Evil 7. So, Resident Evil 7. Let me look at it here. Hang on. I think I mean Resident Evil 8. Let me look at that. Yep, I do.
And by the way, PlayStation is also, well, someone dug through their files, whatever, found a very similar thing of the a sort of cross-buy feature.
Right.
So we're all headed toward this direction.
Again, Microsoft is ahead of the curve in many ways. So, okay, I recently have been going through a Resident Evil thing because Resident Evil 9 is coming out, and like I was like, I want to kind of play through all of them. Like I've played through most of them at some point, but we've played a couple ones here. I was like, I haven't really played 5 or 6 in a long time. I was like, I started 7 and I didn't really like it, but I'm going to go back and play it. So Resident Evil 7, guess what? Xbox Play Anywhere, fantastic. It was on sale for like $10 or something like that, like the gold edition. I can play it on PC or I can play it on console. It's got Series X. Like it's the de facto, like, hey, this is why Xbox Play Anywhere is awesome. Whether I'm on console, whatever device I own, whether it's a ROG Ally, whether it's a PC, whether it's a console, I have my game. I'm going to install it. My achievements are there. My saves are there. Great. Resident Evil 8. I bought Resident Evil 8 on console. You cannot buy Resident Evil 8 in the Xbox store. Not only can you not buy it, it's also like it doesn't exist because Xbox Play Anywhere can't exist on it because it doesn't exist in the store. So it's like, okay, so I can get Resident Evil 8 on my Xbox, which you are now calling everything an Xbox, literally, but I can't get it on my Xbox PC.
So that's what I noticed.
Like
This is what I noticed about the Xbox ROG Ally for 15 minutes I used it. It's not an Xbox.
No, it's just a PC.
It's like and this is my biggest issue with their rebrand, their messaging, and I'm just gonna call it false advertisement because when you tell someone who doesn't know any better, including myself, because I didn't know any better. I had to figure it out myself. When you tell someone, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox. So when I buy this actual Xbox machine, like for example, I use my friend again. When she bought her Xbox, and she bought all her games on her Xbox, if she were for some reason to buy a ROG Ally,
completely different.
When she logged to her Xbox account, she will not have access to any of those games.
She'll have some of them,
but it makes sense that she does not in a way. However, she is advertised as this is my Xbox also.
Right.
It's absolutely false. It's a complete and utter lie, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why they keep doing it, but I don't know why they don't realize the backlash they're going to get when people by the hundreds, thousands plus start realizing, where are my games? Christmas time will come, and like some kids gonna be like, I want the Xbox handheld, and be like, where are my games?
Right, and it's you can't just keep calling everything an Xbox when you're set up now. Like you've laid the foundation, and I believe almost everything. I'm gonna click through these really quick. So the most recent releases, Black Ops 7 is Xbox Play Anywhere. Let's see, Pigeon Simulator is Play Anywhere. Great God Grove, Play Anywhere. Let's see here. So they just launched, for whatever reason, Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris, not Xbox Play Anywhere. So like that's another one. Like I could technically buy this game on my Xbox, my actual Xbox, and then I could not play it on my PC, which is also technically now an Xbox. So like this Resident Evil situation is one that this comes to mind because it's just like I sort of assumed that I could just play it on PC. Because you know what else has Xbox Play Anywhere for Resident Evil? Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 7. Let's see here. Resident Evil. Oh, that's it. So, but I can also go on my Xbox and buy Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6 on my Xbox, but I can't play it on my Xbox. Like, you have created a situation that is a mess. Okay. Like, again, going forward, you'll be okay, but you're not there yet, and you're trying to advertise like you are. Like, oh, just give Game Pass. And it's just like, I can't. I say this as a fan still of Game Pass. I cannot recommend it because I don't know how. Like, I literally don't know how, because if somebody comes to me and they're like, should I get an Xbox? And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. Are you talking about a Series X or S? Like, if you're talking about a Series X or S,
I don't know what you mean.
Maybe. Are you talking about the ROG Ally Xbox? Yes. Okay. Do you like Steam? Okay, then yes, you should. Like, are you coming from an Xbox Series X or S, or even a 360 or an Xbox One? If you have an Xbox One and you want all your games to be there, you should not buy a ROG Ally at all, because your games won't be there. So like, it's just, why would anybody invest? I cannot in good conscience go to somebody and be like, yeah, you should buy this on Xbox, which is a loaded statement now, because what does that mean? What does it mean to buy it on Xbox? Like, I can buy something on Xbox, and it goes the other way too. Like, I could buy something on Xbox PC, or quote on my PC Xbox store, and it will not be on my console as well. So, and there's no chart for this, because that's insane. There wouldn't be. Like, you've created a scenario that is absolutely insane, and you're acting like it's okay. And you're saying, yeah, it's fine. Like, we're committed to more Xboxes, and I'm like, who gives a shit?
You're like, what? I don't care.
Right.
Like
because you're also telling me everything's an Xbox.
I just want to know, like, where to play my games.
Right.
You're being the most vague company in the world to have ever done this. Like, I've never been this confused about buying a console or investing in a video game ever in my life. And all it does, the only thing it does, is make me say, all right, let me boot up Steam and just buy the game I want.
Right.
You know what?
Because you know why? Because when you buy a Steam Deck, not everything is there. 95% of it is. So, like, they've got the same problem. However, it's that problem times 10 on the Xbox side. Like, and this is where PlayStation has a huge advantage because they've put in the work mostly to say, hey, if I buy a PlayStation, I have everything. Like everything that I've purchased since probably like 2010, which is when digital purchases really started picking up. Some PS3 stuff won't be there, but PS4 and on, it's just going to be there and it's just going to work. Like, so what's okay. Now here's my question. What about Xbox 360? Because the Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One have backwards compatibility. There is no emulator on Xbox 360. Like, you currently sell Xbox 360 games on the Xbox Series X and S store. I can go and buy Red Dead Redemption right now, and that is running a 360 version of that game. I recently bought Asura's Wrath on Xbox 360. Is that ever going to come to console or PC? Like, maybe. So, like, I cannot buy something on your store and know with certainty where it's going to be without that Play Anywhere label. So that label makes sense, but why would I keep investing in your platform? I do because I'm stupid and I love achievements. That is pretty much the thing holding me right now is achievements. Like that's it. If it wasn't for that, like, and I do enjoy my Xbox. Like I have all the major systems, but it sounds petty, but you and I had this conversation over text and it was just like, they have literally broken this system now. Like you can't just ask the question, should I get an Xbox? Because that doesn't mean anything. Why are we here?
I've never seen someone devalue a brand so quickly and so efficiently in my life. Like it's up. And again, I made a joke to a friend about this. It's like, and again, the competition does nothing and they win.
Right.
They can sit there and do absolutely nothing and they win. Steam, PlayStation, Nintendo, they can sit there and go, what is Microsoft doing right now? All right, whatever. And then they can sell more consoles, more subscriptions. All the numbers are going up. But Xbox and Microsoft is stagnated and they're wondering why. It's like, this is at the core of all of this. Sadly, it's and I said this like probably like 10 years ago at this point. Like it's a creativity problem with Microsoft. No matter what your feelings are about the industry, there's some, like, no matter who's making what game, somewhere in the Nintendo office, surrounded by a bunch of suits and lawyers and people who never touched the controller, there's one guy in a room who says, yeah, but what if we make it fun? Like, you know, like what if making like just like a cool game, like a cool experience? It's the same thing with Sony, and the same thing with any developer or publisher who's actually succeeding right now. This like I'm not saying these people are all player friendly, player first, and they only care about the player. No, these are businesses. They care about money first and almost only. However, there's still that one person I feel like in those rooms who are like, yeah, but if I can make a fun game. Like, Microsoft doesn't have that guy. Right. They haven't had that guy in a very long time. Like, and I've been making this argument forever and to a lot of pushback, but because I think for a lot of people there was the one guy, was it Don?
Don Matrick was the guy that basically, so Jay Allard was basically the principal designer behind the 360's overall vision. And he basically left, I think, in 2007, and Don Matrick took over for that. He was kind of in charge of the Xbox platform. So Don Matrick, and then he got ousted when the Xbox One came out, essentially.
Yeah, like for a while, people thought they had a guy there in the office, but even if that was the guy, he was very Phil. It was Phil, yeah. Even if he was the guy for a while, he's clearly been beaten down and just his vision's not coming through.
The Microsoft, the Microsoft train has rolled over him in so many ways.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like and to the point where like we don't have there's no Microsoft charm anymore.
Right.
You know, like if they had that, and that's the thing they don't understand. If they had the Nintendo charm, the Sony charm, you can push through with a lot of this stupid behavior, because then people are going to say, well, I don't care because Halo's still the best shooter in the world. I don't care because Gears of War still bangs. You don't have any of this propping you up anymore. And you thought you were going to get it by buying out all these major publishers, only for them to put out stinkeroos too.
Right.
Like, so it's like you don't have any creative legs to stand on. So people are just beating you down with your corporate garbage. Like, they should really die. Like,
and this is,
they want to take over the industry so bad by just buying things out, as Microsoft always has done. But this is such a creative space where they're experiencing a very unique pushback from the audience.
But it's not even really a pushback. It's a you haven't done the work. Like, there's one thing, like when somebody makes a change, like whenever a consumer has to face change of a platform that they like, whether it's, gaming or not, like there's always that nervousness of like Netflix has been doing this for years. Netflix is by far the most popular streaming service. They keep raising the price, and then everybody online is just like, oh my God, I'm canceling. And then you know what happens? Netflix reports increase in subscribers every month. And so that vocal, minority that says like, well, I'm canceling, nobody cares, that's fine. But Microsoft's in a situation, it's like, no, like, the people that are saying they're going to cancel, they might not, but it's not even that. It's like, you can't explain your platform to anybody. You literally can't. Like, I have to break down a freaking 10-page document of like, this is the Xbox platform. And I think they're going to get there. Like, I think they'll get there when they officially sort of cut off the Xbox quote SDK, like the Xbox idea, like the consoleization of Xbox, and they move forward, and Xbox is just a platform and you can buy Xbox games anywhere for the most part. Like, that's a good thing. And I think more platforms are going to do that. We've been saying this for a long time. Like the console exclusive, I know this pisses people off, but like, it really doesn't make a lot of sense in 2025. Like, it does in some instances for like Nintendo, but even Nintendo would make so much more money if they released Mario Odyssey on everything. Like, but they have factored hardware into their plan. Like, I don't think Sony could get away with this. Maybe they could, but like, Sony could not release a very cheap console that has no gimmick or anything like that. Like, Nintendo's always sold the gimmick. You don't buy the Switch to expecting an Xbox or a PlayStation experience. Like, right, yeah. So Nintendo's gotten very good at that. If Sony tomorrow is just like, you know what, instead of being, graphically innovative like that, we're just going to go for cost only. And we're going to release a $400 PlayStation 6, and it's barely better than the PlayStation 5. Like, I don't think people would revolt, but like, if they kept doing that, it's just like, so like, why am I buying a PlayStation then? Like, especially since you're putting your stuff on PC now, like it does not make sense in 2025 for the console exclusive to be the end all be all of your business plan. It's just not enough anymore. So that's going to keep going and changing. But like, you can't.
Yeah, it definitely hasn't.
Right, you can't skip the steps that Microsoft is trying. They're just like, well, we really think that the console exclusive is just antiquated and like it doesn't make a lot of sense. And it's like, yeah, for you,
you're right, but at the same time, like,
yet
these console exclusives, these creative endeavors give people the past, like, give the layman the non-hardcore base. It gives them the impression that this one's better than the other one because it has these things. Like, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. It doesn't matter how antiquated that system is. If the word through the grapevine is this game has the better exclusives, that's enough for a good chunk of people who don't live, breathe, die gaming be like, if I buy this one, it sounds like this one has a little bit more to it than that. And
that's changing though. Like, it's very clear that people like you and I, like our demographic and our age range, we come from that era. But the new generation, they don't care. They really do not care. Like, they're just like, what's it on? Like, okay, I don't have that. I'm not getting it. You know, like if it's not on their phone or on their computer or their Switch, because the younger generation buy, like, there's no one that's going to like, oh man, like I cannot believe that Final Fantasy 16 is going to be on everything anymore because, oh my God, like that used to be a PlayStation. Like nobody cares about that anymore. Like that's going to go away. And also as the cost of development keeps going up and the cost of games keeps going up, you're talking to a generation that's used to spending nothing on products, and you want them to buy a console for God of War, whatever, 7 at $80. So you're talking about a $800 to $900 investment for one game. It is not going to happen. Like your hardest of the hardcore will still do that, but you are not going to convince somebody to your platform with just console exclusives anymore. It's just not going to happen. So,
not just exclusive, but like to add on that, the exclusive just kind of bolster your image and your brand. I mean, so Sony, I think Sony's already figured out what you figured out a long time ago. Like they're spending so much money on licenses and games like Spider-Man and not getting their big ROI on it, but at the same time they know in the zeitgeist of things, like people associated with that console, like this is the Spider-Man machine for this or something. Like it goes back to what you're saying about Microsoft putting in the work. Microsoft some of this could have been swept under the rug if they had some of that exclusive or creative backing, where it's like you had a base of people. It's like, yeah, they're doing some weird stuff, but at the same time, look at these cool games I get to play. Like look, like you can't play this over here though. So it's like they have to like really go back to the drawing board and figure out how to sweep this under the rug in a way where the consumer doesn't truly care. And I said it before, like they should just make Call of Duty exclusive. Like, just if you want to play Call of Duty, you need an Xbox. You need Game Pass. I would just do that because that's your only play anyway. Make like the same thing with Elder Scrolls 7. The same thing with every other game you own at this point. Just make it completely exclusive. Like bully the market because that's all they're good at anyways. Bullying markets. They can't compete creatively. So if they want to get the market back, if they want to take over the market, bully the market. Do it. I don't like you own the publisher. You are a publisher.
I don't think that would have worked with Call of Duty. I really, and I know that's bold to say because I'm trying to think of the way I want to word this. If they would have bought Activision during the 360 era, I think it would have worked. But in the modern, modern era, like there's enough going on out there that yes, you can only bully people for so long though. And I think that's where like, that's essentially what console exclusives are. They're bullying people into buying the platform. And that is changing. And over time, like
they'll try it in the next generation of consoles. They'll try it. They'll love the idea. It will leak. There'll be a soft leak, like where it's like, well, the new Call of Duty is going to come out on these new consoles, and the rumor is it's going to be Xbox only. It'll leak. I guarantee you'll be a soft leak to put the feelers out there, because you're right. If they did in 360 era, done deal. They can't do it right now, but they can do it in a new with new consoles coming out.
But they can't though, because then that, like, what does that mean though? Again, what is that? What is an Xbox? Because if you're saying it's only on Xbox, does that mean
Game Pass? I mean, you need to have Game Pass to get it.
Gotcha. Okay. Ooh, that'd be interesting. That'd be really interesting.
Because then Sony says, well, fine, we'll get. Well, they can or cannot say this, but they'll say fine, Game Pass, right. And then we'll pay you to put Game Pass on here so we can get Call of Duty on our machines.
It's too. I feel like they man, that'd be interesting. They probably could have done that, but I don't think they can now, because that's where Sony and is in a huge hole of the biggest games on PlayStation are not Sony games. It's the 30% cut that they take off of Fortnite, etc., Call of Duty, etc. Mm-hmm. So like Microsoft did have that power, but now I don't think the PR for this is going to kill Call of Duty. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. Like, there's so many other players now in that top 10, whatever, of 10 games of service games that everybody plays. It's just, it's a mess, but that's a different topic for a different time. But yeah, so on the whole, this is a mess. Like, and it didn't have to be this way. And we've now spent an hour complaining about, marketing essentially, but it is truly a blunder that I don't think that, and this is the interesting part, is that does it really matter? Because the people that really care that are still playing on Xbox are probably paying either a lot of attention or no attention to gaming on the whole. Like they got an Xbox, they either have a Series S because it was $299, or they have an Xbox because it was on sale for Black Friday one year and they had an Xbox 360, or they've got all the systems like myself. So going forward, eventually I think they're going to get there. Whenever the next whatever comes out, and as long as they market it correctly and they remove a lot of these very dumb policy, like if you launch a game that does not have Xbox Play Anywhere going forward, you have messed up, because Xbox Play Anywhere should not even exist in 2027, because that should not be a problem anymore, because everything will just be PC based. Like everything's going to be x86. So like that whole program should go away. But the fact that you did Xbox Play Anywhere and there are games in the same franchise like Resident Evil, where if I can play Resident Evil 2 remake, 3 remake, and 7 Xbox Play Anywhere, but 4, 5, and 8 are not Xbox Play Anywhere, you've screwed up royally. Like, make that go away, which you have the perfect opportunity, but for the love of God, like, you need to reduce this, you need to make this make sense, and Godspeed that you just don't get in your own way, but we know you will. So
final thoughts. My question to you is, how do you fix it?
You need to build an Xbox 360 emulator that can work on PC, so that way anybody that had an Xbox 360 or currently still plays or has software on Xbox 360 can just they can migrate to your new console easily. There's always going to be some outliers of some games that won't work for licensing reasons or et cetera, et cetera. But you have made your own bed with that, because you decided where in the Xbox One, you did not have backwards compatibility, but then you added it. Like, that was your choice. And you keep touting that we care about our history and legacy. You need to make a device that can play all of my Xbox games. That's simple. I don't care what that takes. It doesn't have to be 100%, but it needs to be of like, hey, I remember buying this very popular game on Xbox 360. It should be there. This random Xbox Live Arcade game that I don't remember that I bought, that's fine. But I need 90% of everything that I've bought on your platform to be able to be played on whatever hardware you are calling Xbox. Get rid of your stupid console cost to play online. You take the free PR win. But again, that shouldn't be a problem anymore, because you're moving to PC. So like, just make it that Xbox means anything that I bought on Xbox, I can continue playing going forward. That's it. Like, and so basically I need you to be Steam and that's fine, I guess. But will they get there? I don't like. So, and this is like you said, Sony. It's been rumored that Sony's doing like a cross-buy program too. But it's almost like, stop. Like, it's too late, because you're going to run into the same problem of like, okay, like, so if I buy a PlayStation game, so there's no way, at least in my opinion, there's no way that this cross-buy is going to work on Steam, right? Like, they're going to launch their own store.
I mean,
there's no way that they're going to give you a Steam key if I buy Ghost of Yote on PlayStation.
But what if they do?
That would be brilliant. That would be I wouldn't say it would be a slam dunk. Like, that makes sense, but then they never, but they don't get a cut then. Like,
to me, that's the going back to the Xbox One era when he was like, here's how you share PlayStation games. And he just handed the game over. Like, to me, that's one of those moments. Like, because you're right, they don't get a cut, but just for the PR of it.
But then, but the problem then becomes if
how's the money work? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how the business works on that.
Because they still want to sell you a PlayStation. So the only reason to have cross-buy would be for the people that, the other big aspect of this is that portals are becoming more common. And so really, I think that's the biggest push of this cross-buy is that they're going to release supposedly the PS6 is going to be a dual SKU console and handheld. That's what it's for. It's so, hey, if you are a PlayStation gamer and you only want to buy the handheld, you can still then go to PC. So if somebody like me, that's actually probably what I would do. I would still buy the PlayStation handheld. And then when I'm at home or, not in bed, whatever, I would play on my PC. That makes sense to me. But I don't see them. You'd have to live in the PlayStation environment because if I bought Ghost of Yotei on Steam, you're not going to give me a PlayStation key. You're not going to do that because you got almost no money out of that transaction. Whereas if I go on PlayStation, you get 100% of the transaction. So I don't think there's any way that they support.
So if you're on PC, would it make sense to go through PSN, buy the game there,
right? So that way I can play it on my handheld,
the dual key,
right? So I think that's their. I think that's their play. So.
They can make it work, and it may not be extremely profitable, but it'll be one of those moves where it looks really good.
Right.
And it might feel.
You'd have a lot of people that are like, I will buy that PlayStation handheld. Like all my stuff just works great. But then it gets even more muddy because you might also get the player who the Steam PC only player, right? Who
might go because most people have two consoles anyway. So you might get that person who goes, well, I've been a PC gamer mostly anyway. I might get another console. I might as well get the PSN, the PlayStation, the new PlayStation. Also,
but your Steam stuff won't work on the handheld because it's not a Steam device. So
no, I mean the actual PlayStation console itself, because for me, I'm one of those players who has a PC. Clearly, have a PC that hooks to my monitor, but if I wanted another PlayStation to put on my TV.
But would you?
Those would you buy Ghost? Those would be two that talk to each other.
Would you give up the ability of adding Ghost of Yotei to Steam for the ability to play it on your PlayStation as well? That's where it gets tricky because that's the question. Because how many people are like you and they want the Steam achievements and Steam library and all that stuff? Yeah, at that point, you have to make a choice. And that's where Microsoft is in a unique position because they still sell Forza on Steam, but since they own the PC market for the most part, the ROG Ally incorporates your Steam games. You can install Steam on it. PlayStation won't have that ability. I guess they could. They could make a Windows machine, I guess, but they're not going to. They're going to be sticking to the same SDK environment. If you're developing for the PlayStation, you're developing using these tools. Microsoft is in this position. It's we don't care where you buy your games because no matter what, you're going to be on Windows.
Right.
So we're going to get something out of this. We still they still have to put in the work to really we want you to buy this on quote Xbox in the Xbox store because then you get all these other benefits for it. And really this comes back to Xbox has been dead for a while. What their play is Game Pass. Which then also throws a weird wrench into it, which I'm just going to say this and stop talking. But that also means that Game Pass also undermines them entirely because why would I buy anything on the Xbox store? If I'm a PC gamer, if I'm a PC gamer, why would I buy anything in the Xbox store?
Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
Because if you're trying to market to the quote PC player and hey, all your Steam stuff works here, why would I buy this device over a Steam Deck?
It doesn't make any sense.
And but the reason is because it's an Xbox and all your Xbox stuff works. However, that's not true. Your Xbox stuff
but it
does not work.
It doesn't.
Right? So what does work? Game Pass. So Game Pass is literally their only differentiator that makes sense to buy their hardware. But also, as you have pointed out, they have to make it so freaking clear when this new actual Microsoft Xbox comes out, because the ROG Xbox Ally X is not a Microsoft device. What does that mean?
Nope.
What does that mean? Like, does that mean that I don't have to pay to play online? Does that mean all my purchases come over? Like, what does that mean? Because if I go...
Well, the rumor is the new Xbox is going to be the ROG Ally.
But it's already an Xbox, though. That's what they literally call it, right. Xbox.
So how does that work? Here's the I don't think they thought this through. If I can get a new Xbox that has Steam on it, like an Xbox console, correct, that also has Steam Steam on it, if I buy anything or launch anything through Steam, what online am I paying for?
Correct. Right. That's
because I'm not paying for online at that point, right?
Correct. You shouldn't be. So that's what's like. They're getting into this territory to where they're gonna have to figure this out and just, I don't want to say suck it up, but like stop trying to like guide people into your platform. Like it's too late. You're not going to overtake Steam. Your differentiator is Game Pass. So if I go and buy this quote new Xbox that is just a PC under the hood, it needs to be a PC under the hood. If I want to install Steam, let me install Steam. You need to entice me a different way to buy something either on the Xbox store or whether it's Game Pass, whatever. Like you can't keep trying. Like they're trying to, it's not even have their cake and eat it too. They're trying to come up with a strategy that makes sense for them because it's like, well, okay, like we need to get people in the Xbox store, so let's do Xbox Play Anywhere. That was their big initiative. So that's like, hey, PC players, maybe you'll buy a Series S, maybe you'll buy a Series X, whatever. Like you can hop between these. That didn't work because most people aren't going to do that. So it's like, okay, what if we let you install your Steam games? Like here's this ROG Ally. Like, look, you got the Power Xbox. Like all your Xbox purchases are here. You can get Game Pass on this. You can get Steam. You can get Epic. Like do whatever you want. So it's like, okay, so but when you make an Xbox now, what does that mean? But then it asks the question, if it is as just it's turnkey, it's like, no, this is just a PC. Like install, you want Steam, here you go. Here's the app. Have a grand old time. Why are you making it? Why is Microsoft making the Xbox at that point? Why not have a hardware partner do it?
Right.
So that tells me that they're going to do something dumb because the only why would you make the Xbox? Like, what benefit do you get by making the Xbox? Is it going to be hardware? I guess you could, like, Microsoft is not a hardware company though. Like they don't make money on hardware. That's not what they do. They make money on software. So that's the reason why the Asus, the ROG Ally is $1,000 because they don't get a cut from Xbox or Steam or anything. They have to make money on the hardware. So Microsoft's like, are they going to subsidize it? I would think so, but not if I can buy it and then I never touch an Xbox store. So like, what are you going to do to this quote console, this PC that's going to be consoleized to make money with it other than it runs Windows? Like, is it the possibility that they're going to subscribe to Game Pass? Is it the possibility that they'll open the Xbox store? Like, that's the benefit of PlayStation and Xbox being their own ecosystem is that, hey, if I'm on an Xbox before all this fuckery, like that means they're going to get a cut no matter what. If you release a device that does not have that, why are you doing it? And
yeah, that's a great point. Like I don't understand what they're doing. Like, yeah,
I don't think they do either.
Yeah, you kind of blew the lid off the roof there. I don't know what. Yeah. Have someone else make this box for you, slap your name on it,
and that might even be what they're doing. Who knows? Like they said that
they're not though.
They said that they are making another Xbox. Now that does not mean
true.
Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they're making it.
Right.
That just means that like
right.
That so because they have also been very picky about their with the marketing and their wording of the ROG Ally. They're like, no, this is an Xbox. Like it's lit. Like that's their whole thing. This is an Xbox. So does that mean that their quote console, maybe they won't call it the Asus Xbox, but maybe they'll just call it, Xbox whatever. So that way the marketing of it will be like, no, this is just an Xbox, but maybe they're not making it. That was like the what was that?
Right.
Before Google made their own stuff, that's what they did. The Nexus devices. They partnered with a company. It was HTC for a while. There was no branding anywhere on any of those devices that said it was an HTC device. It was simply that Google didn't make hardware. They didn't want to make hardware. So they said, but we want to customize a device that we can say we are making. Most people don't know that it's not Google making it. So like there's that possibility, but then at the same time, why are you being so like aggressive and being like, no, we are making a console? Like people are trying to say that we're not making a console because of all these changes, which is on you. Like you're the one that's keeps opening your mouth. Like, so you're like, no, we're making a console. We're making a console. Why are you being so aggressive unless you are making the console? So unless they like, again, they have to get out of this is the easiest device to make because it's like, we're putting Windows on it. That's what we're doing. And we're putting this new experience of whatever, like they're clearly making a version of Windows that is better for gaming, etc. You need to make a device that does that. That's it. But you don't need to make that device. So why are you? Like, are you really going to get out of your own way? I doubt it. Like,
no, they're not, dude. That's what I'm trying to, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're making perfect sense, which is why that's not the route they're going to go. Right. This is their box. This is their box. They're making this box. They're pushing like from nuts to bolts. This is their box, and it's just a stupid. This doesn't make it all sense.
It's going to be it's going to be epic. It's going to be so epic.
I'm going to be so like. I really hope that Steam Machine drops around the same time. I want to see.
Supposedly that's
happens.
in like January, so that we won't have to wait long for that. So.
Yeah, because like with the Steam Machine out, like what do I need the Xbox for?
Steam has literally become Xbox in a weird way. Like minus being a publisher, but like they've basically, I won't say they've beat Microsoft to the punch, but like they have been quietly in the background. Like and what's funny is like Steam was actually not supposed to be a store. Like the whole idea behind Steam was it was an easy way for you to patch games. That is the way that Steam was built, because back in the day you couldn't things that didn't patch on their own. You had to go to a website and find a patch. Like you knew a patch was coming. I think Blizzard was like one of the only companies that like actually implemented, like that's why the Blizzard launcher was a thing and why they stuck to it was because they built their entire dev base on it. So that way they could distribute patches and everything directly to the player. That was the beauty of it. Like people actually, there was a time people loved launchers. Now we hate them. We hate Ubisoft. We hate Epic, etc. But back in the day, we were excited about the Blizzard launcher. But yeah, so like, but now Steam has just been in the background. They have the PC market essentially, and now it's turnkey for them. They don't have to do anything except build the hardware. They've literally become a console maker at this point, but in the way that everybody else is like, everybody else was already in the market, but now Steam can just come in, or Valve can just come in and say, okay, like we've already done all the hard work. All we have to do now is release the hardware. That's it.
Right.
Like we literally don't have to do anything else.
As you said before, like Microsoft didn't put in the work, where Steam's been this huge giant in the background, just putting in the work.
Yep.
And now they just need to put out the box. And if they beat Microsoft to the punch, which they will, with the box, with the home box, I'm really interested to see like what, like if you're an if you're an Xbox fan, like, and you got access to a Steam machine, why would you get an Xbox when you can just get the Game Pass on your Steam machine?
Right. And see, that's where it gets tricky, is because, but Steam, like the Steam Deck, does not run on Windows. You can put Windows on it, but it does not run on Windows. So you technically can't get Game Pass on a Steam Deck out of the box. So like that's where it gets even more tricky. But Steam is also now or Valve is in a unique position, because whereas again, if Microsoft is making a box, unless they subsidize it, but why would they subsidize it when they can't guarantee that you're going to be in their store? Valve does not have that issue now, because if you buy a Steam Deck or you buy a I don't think what do they call the console? Steam machine. If you buy a Steam machine, you can install Windows on it, but you don't have to. But the thing is, even if you do install Windows on it, you know what you're still going to go and buy games from? Steam. So they can subsidize it no matter what. And chances are you're going to buy something from Steam. Microsoft doesn't have that ability anymore. If they release a console, it's like, well, if they put Steam on it, we don't get any money for that. So like, why would they subsidize it? So not only can Valve come out and eat their lunch, but they can also subsidize their hardware because they're going to make money back on it. Whereas Microsoft, that's not a guarantee anymore. Like it's very, very strange. And like, again, the biggest thing is that all Valve had to do is just pretty much do nothing. Like, that's not fair. All they had to do was market to the gamer and get the gamer hooked, and they listen to them and they implement the features that make sense. And that's it. But Microsoft has done the exact opposite of, they just keep making it more convoluted and more convoluted to the point to now, even if they do the right thing, it's like, here's a freaking PC. We put it in a fancy looking case. We slapped the Xbox logo on it. It's a fantastic piece of hardware, but now we can't guarantee that we're going to get money from you anymore. Whereas Valve is like, no, we can subsidize this thing, throw it out there, and guess what? We're still going to make a boatload of money. So sucks to be you. Like,
right.
It's just, it's a mess, and it's fascinating at the same time. It's just watching this whole thing unfold. This was already
and the whole time, like Sony, Nintendo, to lesser extent Nintendo, and Steam, like while Microsoft's doing all of these things, like everyone else is kind of sitting there, it's like, let's see how this goes, and then like move accordingly, because I think we all just looking at what could possibly be one of the biggest train wrecks in gaming. Like, it's quite possible, or it could be the most phenomenal turnaround ever. Right. We don't know, or anything in between. So like everyone's just sitting back quietly, like doing their own thing and planning for the future. Whereas like we see what Microsoft is doing, and it's not, and it's the most fascinating, like trains going opposite directions. Just like, are they going to collide? Like, what's going to happen?
I think what's even most interesting is like, in this grand scheme of like the company that I'd be looking at the most of, like, I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know if I should invest, is actually Sony. Like, because they're in a position, it's like, well, they still want to sell a console. They don't want to move to PC only. They clearly do not want to move to PC only because they don't have Windows. Microsoft has Windows. So it's like, okay, if you start putting stuff on PC, et cetera, it's like, but I don't really have a reason anymore to invest in the PlayStation hardware because a lot of their stuff comes to PC now. And I honestly think that their output has been very boring. So like, I don't really care about Ghost of Yotei. I don't really care about Concord. I don't really care about Fair Games. Like that new Naughty Dog game, like, yeah, it looks okay, but like Last of Us 3, I don't really care. Like, a new God of War I'll be interested in, but like,
I'm a Naughty Dog fan. I don't want to play that game. Yeah,
but you don't.
I hear you.
In the grand scheme of things, like if I was an investor or something like that, it's like, well, Sony's just kind of out there doing their own thing, but they're not the runaway success that Nintendo is. It's like Nintendo puts out a Mario game, that's 20 million instant. Like, you're going to sell 20 million copies of that game. Like, they have the brand IP and recognition that Sony doesn't have. So it's like, yeah, God of War is going to sell some consoles, but it's not going to sell 20 million. Like, so like they're in a very, very weird position. Like you said, like they're kind of waiting and just sort of doing what makes the most sense, which is fine. And right now it's working because they're really the only option. Like, you can't in good faith be like, yeah, you should buy an Xbox over a PlayStation. Like, I can't tell anybody that. Like, I don't, unless you really want Game Pass, like that's the only way that you should ever buy an Xbox. But that's such a small and niche part of the market. But it's like, also, it's like, yeah, but like, unless you really want to play God of War on day one, like, it actually kind of makes more sense to get a Steam Deck. Again, Valve has done nothing but just let developers come, let gamers decide what wants, and now all they have to do is execute and say, oh, you guys love this? Okay, here's a console. What do you guys think about that? Like it? Don't like it? Oh, you hate it? Okay, no problem. We're done. We're not going to invest in that again. By the way, you're still going to be like, you're still buying stuff from them though. Like with Sony, it's like,
So Sony needs to find a way to talk nice to
right.
Valve.
You almost
like that's essentially like it. Just talk nice to Valve.
Yeah, you guys need to get real close, like real close.
That's it. Like, because Microsoft is trying to infiltrate the system, whereas like, and it's not. I don't think it's going to work out. Whereas like Sony, I feel like you should just hang out, just like make a phone call. Like, hey, Gabe, let's have a dinner,
right?
You know, let's talk shop, because otherwise, if you try to fight it,
you're gonna fail.
Steam just might
you're gonna
eat
fail.
You. So you might as well talk nice to them.
Especially, like, with the cost of hardware going up, everything, like the idea of you buying a PlayStation 6 just to play God of War, whatever, you're still going to do that. But again, you're not. It's a publicly traded company. Revenue has to keep coming up. Revenue has to keep going up. They can't just make money. That's not enough. It has to keep increasing. In the current landscape of how consoles work, in a decade, it will not work anymore, because it just won't. Like, you cannot ignore the PC market anymore if you want growth. If they were fine without having growth, it'd be one story, but they can't. And that's the other thing that Valve has, is they're not publicly traded. They can do whatever they want. Like, they don't have to worry. Like, they're not talking about how many Steam Decks have sold, and it's under like 5 million, but you don't see anybody out there being like, oh my God, the Steam Deck was an awful idea. It was a failure. Like, I can't believe they did that. Like, their entire company doesn't revolve around PlayStation the way that Sony relies on PlayStation. So like, they're actually in an even far more terrifying situation, because PlayStation is propping up that company, and the model is not going. It's not sustainable. It is not sustainable the way that they're going. So unless something drastically changes in the development market, which sometimes it has to sometimes it has to crash before it'll get better. Like, they're in a very, very scary spot too. Like, yeah, like, oh, we're selling consoles hand over fist. We're making all this money. It's like, yeah, but how much of that revenue that you're reporting is because you now have a subscription service, but also you're now charging $700 for a console? So, like, how many users do you have? I know people love to make fun of, like, well, Microsoft only talks about users. It's like, yeah, because it doesn't really matter like how many consoles you sell anymore if you're not selling any software. And if you're putting it just, they're old in many ways. They're very old, and they're not making any huge strides the way that Microsoft and Valve are trying to. Like, they don't have Windows, they don't have Steam. All they have is PlayStation. So how can they make PlayStation make sense when, what was it? Last of Us 2 wasn't like, it sold like 10 million copies, but I don't think it ever touched Last of Us Part 1. I want to look that up real quick.
I mean, and that's the thing too. Like, yeah, like, so like, Sony is living and dying by its creativity in a sense, but at the same time, it's like the business has to pop in at some point. So they're looking towards the future. We already know. I mean, there's people smarter than us who have this sort of figured out, or they think they do at least. So it's interesting to see what their plan will be going forward. I'm just pretty confident it won't be nearly as messy as what we're seeing with Microsoft. Like, it'll be a much cleaner break in whatever they try to do.
But I don't think it can be. I think it has to be messy though, because you can't commit to one. You can't commit to one or the other because of your investors.
It won't be this messy. It won't be this messy is what I'm saying. Like, not by a long shot. It's going to be a lot smoother.
I don't know that I agree, but we'll have to wait and see how that one. So I'll close right on this. We've been talking way too long. So, like, for instance, I'm just looking at the sales numbers of their biggest titles. Horizon Zero Dawn was 25 million. God of War 2018 was 23 million. And then I'm trying to find The Last of Us. So The Last of Us, including Last of Us Remastered, so that's the entire PS3 and PS4 run, was 18 million. And Last of Us Part 2, the last time they reported it, was 12 million. So it's like, that's a huge drop off. So it's not a guarantee. So that's why they went to PC, was because they wanted to try to elevate some of their sales for these games that are not selling as much as they used to. But they also, it's not a guarantee anymore that, like, hey, if Naughty Dog puts out a game that's a 20 million seller, not true. It's just not true. The way that Nintendo puts out a Mario game, you guarantee you're going to sell at least 15, 20 million copies. Like, Sony.
You're absolutely right. But part of that also is, as we can see, is like, you talk about a new Mario game. That's not a new Last of Us. That's just an old Last of Us. That's not like Sony is in my opinion, a sort of creative rut right now.
I'd agree with that.
So unless they get back to making some more, they need to find a new Demon Souls essentially, because right now they're just kind of making these legacy games and it's selling less and less and less, because and
while they cost more,
like you said,
they cost so much more to produce as well. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like you said, like Steam kind of just listens to the market, listens to the player. Sony isn't quite doing that. then not nearly as well as Steam, because it's like they just like I said, they're pumping out legacy titles when people are saying like we're done with those. Like God of War is done now. Last of Us has been done. We're looking for the newest, greatest thing, and it's like you're not delivering. Whereas like Nintendo's a new Mario is still a new Mario. It's not Galaxy 4, 5, 15.
Right.
It's a literally new Mario game. So it's like I think at the end of the day, creativity, like you need that. Like those going to be the strongest. That's the strongest base you're going to have, and I think the numbers speak for it.
And Nintendo even has the ability of they take their franchises and they go in different directions with them. Like, hey, there's a new Metroid. There's a new Metroid coming out. What does that mean? Is it a Metroid Prime? Is it a 2D Metroid? Like,
right,
so
exactly.
Like, you don't know what you're getting sometimes. Whereas it's like, hey, they're making Spider-Man 3, and it's like, I didn't really like Spider-Man 2.
Okay. All right.
And like I think the market also agreed, because like Spider-Man was like 20 million. I think Spider-Man 2 was like 8. So it's like that's a 60% drop off, and it's like that was your most expensive game ever. Where it's like, hey, Mario Kart World wasn't that great, but like it's still going to sell 20 million copies. Like when a new Zelda is announced, that could mean one of 5 different types of games. It could mean one of 10 different timelines. Like they've made their franchises not evergreen, but like they're not molded into what they have to be. Like they can go wherever they want. But like The Last of Us 3, we know what that game is. We know exactly what to expect.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it's to a detriment, because that studio, although like no studio has been the same over time, it's until they really screw up. I also did not like The Last of Us 2 very much, but until they put out an absolute dud, you're looking at a studio with a history, with the story past of Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, The Last of Us. Then you have Uncharted. Like they can make anything. You should let them make anything. Like not everything needs to be this $50 million investment.
Their biggest problem is exactly that. They have to figure out dev costs. Like that is going to make or break Sony. Is if they cannot reel that in and figure that out. Like Nintendo's figured it out somehow. I don't quite know how, but it might just be, I don't know. But
dude, break that team in half and make 2 games.
Yeah, I'm not in that environment, and I've tried to keep up with it, and like I still have a couple developer friends, but none of them, they're not working at AAA studios and stuff. So like I don't have my finger on the pulse of exactly why these things are ballooning, other than mismanagement. But also like it's the Ubisoft thing, and I've been saying this for years, and it's like nobody asked for Assassin's Creed Valhalla to be 150 hours. Like nobody asked for that.
Not at all.
But then like people are like, well, yeah, they are. It's like, no, I don't know a single person that's doing that, yet they keep making it. It's like, well, the data shows. It's like, I get it. I get what you're saying. The data says this, but like it doesn't.
But that's the only game you're making. So of course the data says that.
So it's like it's a mess, and there's too many hands. Like it's just, that's going to be their biggest problem, is that they have to figure out dev costs, because if they don't, like I can tell you right now, like The Last of Us 3, I will not buy it day one. It's not going to happen. I hated Last of Us 2 so much.
I'm out on that series. Right. I'm not going to lie to you. Like The Last of Us 1 is one of the best games of all time for me. But Last of Us 2,
so
I'm
like
out.
If somebody that I'm friends with or someone I game share with or on Steam buys it, maybe I'll check it out, or I'll buy it on a sale or something like that. But it's just like, so that's the risk that you run when you put all your eggs in these mega IPs. Like, and if they don't hit, like it's not a question of, oh my God, like that's a detriment to your entire company. So again, where Microsoft and Steam or Valve, they still have Windows and Steam. They don't have to do anything. They're still going to continue to make money. The fact that you've put your entire company's back essentially on PlayStation, you better get it right. And I don't know that you've been getting it right this generation. So
if I was Sony, I would really team up with a lot of my Japanese buddies over there, because you have Microsoft going all in on Fortnite, which isn't going to work because no one cares. No one's going to switch over. But there's a lot of free-to-play titles that are Japanese developed or Chinese developed, and they're making huge money.
But they're
like if I'm Sony, I'm grabbing on those coattails of those Grand Fantasy Blues, those fucking the Grand Fantasy Blues, the ZZZs, like all those games. Like those games are making a huge amount of money. Like that should be your next development.
And they are like,
idea,
and they're doing the China project as well as the I can't remember, like Black Myth. Black Myth was they partnered with Sony for that. Like they're making the right calls of that.
Yeah.
But the problem is going to be over the next 10 years. It's just like a lot of those games end up coming to PC as well. And I think that's because they have to, like, because development costs are becoming so high. It's like, if I'm a third party and Sony comes to me and says like, hey, we want to sponsor, we want to help with this game. We want to partner with you, et cetera. Like make it exclusive. It's like the days of like truly console exclusive are pretty rare. Even Kojima's games come to PC, and people forget Death Stranding is on Xbox, the console. Like it took 3 or 4 years to get there, but even Kojima was like, no, I want rights to like, nobody's just handing over the rights anymore. So they're almost right. being bullied into having to go to PC. It's like, honestly, after the PlayStation 6, does the PlayStation make sense to even be a console anymore? Not really. Like
unless it adapts in some way, it does not.
And that's where the portable comes into play. Like that's exactly what they're trying to stay relevant by making unique hardware, which is what Nintendo's been doing forever. So like they're basically trying to do the Nintendo playbook, but they also have invested way too heavily into these IPs. It's like they have been bitten very hard by the PlayStation 3 and 4 being a massive success. And the PlayStation 5 is a massive success too, but it's only because it's really the only option. Like, because Microsoft's not competing with them. Like they're trying to, but they're not, like, because they're dumb. Like it's the PlayStation is in this really weird spot to where it's like, you can't call it a failure by any means, but it's like, the numbers are still going up. So like, it's a matter of like it's something they're very aware of, but as long as the numbers keep going up, which shows like there's still a huge audience for people who just want a box, right? Who just want a freaking box. So like Steam may or may not cut hugely into that. We don't know. We'll see. But as long as Sony makes a good box, there'll be a bunch of people to buy it. I said this a while. I said now they're actually gonna have to compete on hardware again, and that's actually really exciting. Like, I really want to see what they do to these platforms to make them unique in whatever way possible. Being portable is one thing. Like, that's always going to be cool, and it's always going to have its merits. But like with the Steam Deck being a thing, and with there's going to be a Steam Deck too, there will, and Microsoft is investing in the portable market. Like this idea that like you're going to buy a PlayStation and it's just going to be a box and it's going to, that's what you're going to be like. No, like that is going like we're reaching a device agnostic market to where, hey, who has the best hardware and why? Like, what is it? Is it the power? Is it the ergonomics? Is it the thin? Like, it's almost approaching kind of the smartphone market, but a lot of them, they're all going to be 80% the same, but that last 20% is going to be the difference now of like, what is this company doing differently that is going to entice me to purchase this device? And software is going to be going to be becoming a non-factor.
Software's. See,
let me rephrase that.
I disagree.
The publishers are going to become a non-factor.
Exclusive.
Yeah. The publishers. It doesn't matter who makes the game. It's just like, oh god, I have to have a PlayStation to have this. No, like that will disappear over time. Eventually, Nintendo will get there too. It's going to take them a lot longer, but there will be a day where you will be able to play Nintendo stuff not on a Nintendo Switch 7 or whatever they're at. It just has to reach that point. They're far better at the dev part of it. That's why they can continue to do it. Like their dev costs are not insane the way that Sony's are, and that's why nobody's questioning Nintendo. Like people are like, well, what do you mean console exclusives don't work? Nintendo does it. Look at them. It's like, yeah, but like, I get what you're saying, but really what it is the dev costs are still tolerable for them. Like so.
Mario Kart World cost a fraction of Spider-Man.
A tenth of the cost.
Like it's just like, and it's one thing, and that's the thing. Sony can easily do that too. They just need to get back in their bag about it. Like it's not impossible for them to do that. They can easily make games that are smaller or cost a fraction of the cost of their bigger titles and push those out as exclusives, or at least timed exclusives for 2-3 years and make buku bucks on it. They can easily do it, but like I think this is I think to me has been their worst generation by far, proving that.
Yep.
Like they just took their foot off the gas completely, and Microsoft let them do it. So like I think they know, they have to know, like we need to put out more games, more quality titles at a fast rate.
Right. Well, there's
for the next not
generation. Only that, like there's a reason Sony's investing in Epic. You know, like they are getting into. I would not be surprised if over time Epic and Sony become one. Like I truly do not think that would be a huge thing, because then Sony could rely on Unreal.
It would be
so like if they no longer had to if the development cost could be cut by owning the engine, the biggest engine in the world, that's their way out of it. But Epic could buy Sony.
They already started.
Yeah, like the problem is that Sony couldn't buy Epic. Epic would buy Sony. Like that's So again, it's as an investor, like it. As an investor, like.
It'll be a partnership,
right?
For sure.
Like but Sony's in this really weird spot, and again, nobody's talking about it because they don't have to yet. But that's where it's this long-term thinking that people are really just not thinking about. Of it's not that the console exclusive is just this awful idea; it's that it just doesn't make sense anymore. Like, and it's not because of anything, but the cost to develop.
The classic AAA exclusive, like if for example, if Sony put out. I don't know. If Sony put out Mega Bonk, like as an exclusive, that was their game, like huge hit. Like the back in the game is Sony doing.
That's
Sony
the marketing
again.
Power of PlayStation. You know, like that's the PlayStation brand still has a ton of value, but the PlayStation brand is not strong enough to make a $350 million Spider-Man 2 dev cost. Palpable. Right. It just doesn't. Like it. No brand is powerful enough to do that. You cannot just eat $350 million based on branding. Like that game needed to sell way better than it did. Again, there's a reason Sony's looking at PlayStation other than that they're greedy. Like, oh, they just want more money. It's like, no, like they're looking at the dev costs and they're like, this is out of control. Like, what do we do? And the solution isn't like, they don't own the market. They don't own the studios. Like they don't own all of them. They own some of them. They own some of the engines, but they don't own Epic. They own Decima. And like, they don't have enough of that market to themselves. Like they don't have the monopoly that Microsoft does with Windows and that Valve does with Steam. They don't have that. They have something close to it, which is that they own the AAA console market for the most part, but that's changing rapidly. So, and by rapidly, I mean like over the next decade. I don't think in the next year or anything.
I'm about to say like, yeah, because it's still going up. Like, but it will change. Oh, or may change if they don't change along with
essentially.
it.
So, all right, let's wrap it up. We've talked way too much, but it was a good talk. So that's our current thoughts. When it comes to games on this, we're still playing some games. We're going to play some stuff, and we're going to be doing our Game of the Year episode as always. So, we recently did an episode on Ball Pit. So what else have you been playing?
We should do Silk Song.
Yeah, we should definitely do Silk Song.
Because I beat that. Well,
yeah, I finished it.
Yeah, I'll say
I finished it as well. So, and then I also played Power Wash Simulator 2. I've been playing a lot of Game Pass stuff. And then I definitely want you to check out Halls of Torment. So yeah, I'm gonna say something. You ready? Roguelite.
Is it a...
Exactly. There you go.
All right, let's
You're in.
download that real quick.
Now,
right.
I'm gonna make it a little bit better. Diablo. No?
Diablo roguelike.
Yes. If Diablo 2, like from an art perspective,
what is this called?
Halls of Torment. This is a Diablo. This game looks like Diablo 2, but it's a roguelite. It's quite good. That's what I will say. So we'll talk about that. So lots of stuff coming out. The big one that I do want to get back to, and because I want this to be in the discussion for our Game of the Year, is going to be Ninja Gaiden. I know you haven't booted it, right?
I'll play it. I'm not playing the game.
We'll talk. We will talk. How you feeling about Outer Worlds 2?
So far, so far.
Okay, so you're playing it. I guess that's what I should have said. Okay.
Yeah. I'm playing it. Like it's again, this is not on Game Pass, by the way, y'all. Like, cause I I'm trying to figure out what Game Pass I want.
They don't have to know that. Don't tell them.
But I mean, they should know that because it's part of the podcast thingy-majiggy.
So,
but
real quick, I think the rest of the year, like of the big releases, Moonlighter 2, I will play that. I want that to be in discussion. Hall of Torment needs to be in the discussion. Outer Worlds 2, I think, needs to be in discussion. Power Wash Simulator 2, Call of Duty, I know, I'm that guy, and Ninja Gaiden. I think that will round out the rest of the year for us. And then that Game of the Year list is going to be ridiculous. Like,
I'm not playing Call of Duty.
I will find somebody to do an episode.
Brother. That's all you, brother. Yeah,
okay, but why? I want to know why.
Dude, I haven't played Call of Duty in years.
We play it every year.
I've been out for a long time. We play like 4 rounds together every year. I don't play Call of Duty.
Fair, but this is what I'm going to say. You and I should play this Call of Duty together and not just multiplayer.
That's gross.
The campaign and zombies. I'm not, this isn't a spoiler because I haven't finished it. I would be extremely curious because you and I are Call of Duty people in the fact of we just like games that play good. In terms of like, I remember Halo 5. When we did our episode on Halo 5, we're like, look, this game from a Halo perspective is bad. However, this game is a blast to play.
It's felt good.
It's a blast to play. Yeah. So I'd be very curious how you feel about Black Ops 7 because I think right now it's getting memed on really hard. But as I'm playing this game, I'm like, this is really good though. Like
why why would they wrap it up in such a weird aesthetic then? Like,
but that's like the thing.
Is the entire aesthetic is so off-putting. Like, I'm just like, I don't want to touch that right now. Like,
yeah, I honestly think it's just bad timing. But like, people forget, like, guys, Black Ops has always been weird. Like, always. I don't know why there's this notion all of a sudden that it's just like, oh my god, I can't believe they're doing sci-fi. It's like, what? Have you guys played Call of Duty?
I'm also famously like an Advanced Warfighter fan too. Like the dumber the better for me in a way. Like, I mean, like I always feel like there should be one Call of Duty that is very straightforward military shooting and one that is completely balls to the walls.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But so what I'll say is like Infinite Warfare. That was the one that exactly you're describing of like, we're just trying stuff. Like, it usually doesn't work out. Doesn't work out. Black Ops 7, I think they have finally actually done the thing where they bridge them. It's still kind of different and very weird, but not so far that like it ends up creating a bad game. I think Infinite Warfare from a multiplayer and like movement perspective was a bad game. I feel the same way about Vanguard. Vanguard tried really hard to be like, hey, we want to be really arcadey, but we're going back to this World War aesthetic kind of thing. And it's like, it just didn't work. This one, without going into details, I'm like, I think they did it. I think they actually did it.
So here's a perfect send off here. As I opened up my Xbox app, I got an alert for Call of Duty Black Ops 7 Play with Game Pass. Now I'm just gonna go through this because as you said that, I'm like, how can I play Call of Duty without paying $70, $60, $70, $80 for it? So I'm like, okay, so open up my Xbox app, Play with Game Pass. Let's see what they advertise me on here. Instantly says upgrade to Ultimate.
Game Pass PC.
Can I play this with?
Yes. Game Pass PC will get you Call of Duty.
See, that's the absolute bull crap.
Right.
It makes me want to uninstall all of the Xbox thing because I figured that was the case, and as soon as I open up, it says Essential, Titanium Bastion, and it's like upgrade, including an Ultimate. It's like, but I know this on PC
for
too.
Me, what like
and I'm on my PC.
The craziest part of this is like you are pushing Ultimate. There are zero. If you did not own an Xbox Series X or S, or I guess X, in some instances an Xbox One. There are 0 things that are added to that minus Ubisoft Plus Classics. That is the biggest difference that you are getting for an additional $14.50 a month. That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts. So personally, it sounds like you should probably be on Game Pass PC. It's actually, you'd save money because you used to spend more on Ultimate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like, as long as I could downgrade, like, again, like, I'm not doing Ultimate. I'm not doing anything in between Ultimate and whatever is just you're losing money in some way. Like, I don't know.
For $16.50 a month, that's a no-brainer.
That's fine.
The problem is you can't get to it. like as we have demonstrated live on this show, it is impossible to understand Microsoft's play. But $16.50 a month for Game Pass Ultimate, Game Pass PC, God, still really, really good. If you're on PC, go with that tier. That's what I'll say. I'm hanging on to Game Pass or Pass, and I am saying hold on to the Game Pass for PC tier. Screw all the other tiers. So, all right.
Until they screw that up.
Yeah, they'll screw it up. So. All right, that's going to do it. Let us know how you feel about Xbox, Microsoft. 574-651-9256. 574-651-9256. Thank you to whoever wrote in. I'm sorry I didn't get your name. But yeah, so that's going to round out. Like I said, I'm very much looking forward to Moonlighter 2. I'm very curious about that one. But I think Call of Duty Black Ops 7, we need to play it. I think we need to talk about it. I really do. So,
fine.
We'll play that. Halls of Torment, I need you to play. We're going to talk about Outer Worlds 2. And then Ninja Gaiden will be a tough one. We'll talk about that one. Keeper, how are you feeling about Keeper?
What are you talking about?
The Lighthouse game.
I didn't play that game.
So if you're subscribing to Xbox Game Pass PC, we should maybe talk about it. So we've got a section of about 5 to 6 games that we're going to be playing through the rest of the year before we do our Game of the Year episode. That's what I'm getting at. So it might be Keeper, but it for sure we're going to talk about Call of Duty. We're going to talk about, I already lost it. What did we already say? I forgot. Halls of Torment, and then Outer Worlds 2 are locks. Ninja Gaiden, at some point, one of us will talk about Ninja Gaiden 4. I have a lot to say about that game. And at some point, one of us will talk about Keeper as well. So, all right, that is going to do it. 574-651-9256. Let us know what you think. Thank you for listening. This was a long one. So we'll see you next time with one of those games.
Good day, sirs.
Is anyone out there?
Another salesperson enduring the endless search. Exhausting. If you want to get right to the right conversations, you need LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Whether you're looking for new leads or strengthening existing relationships at your top accounts, get right to the right conversations with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Try LinkedIn Sales Navigator now with a free 60-day trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial.
Terms and conditions apply!
October brings it all. Halloween parties, tailgates, crisp fall nights. At Total Wine & More, you'll find just what you need for them all. Mixing up something spooky? Total Wine & More is your cocktail central for all your Halloween concoctions. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find only at Total Wine & More. Curbside pickup and delivery available in most areas. See TotalWine.com for details. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. B21.
Hey, Fidelity. What's it cost to invest with the Fidelity app?
Start with as little as $1 with no account fees or trade commissions on U.S. stocks and ETFs.
That's music to my ears.
I can only talk.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Sell order assessment fee not included. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a transaction-based service fee of $100. See full list at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
They say if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. At Amica Insurance, we're built for our customers and prioritize your needs. Call 877-41-AMICA for a free coverage review.
Score holiday gifts everyone wants for way less at your Nordstrom Rack store. Save on UGG, Nike, Rag & Bone, Vince, Frame, Kurt Geiger London, and more.
Because there's always something new.
I'm giving all the gifts this year with that extra 5% off when I use my Nordstrom credit card. Santa who?
Join the Nordy Club at Nordstrom Rack to unlock our best deals. It's easy. Big gifts, big perks. That's why you rack.